Hi, I'm Lucy from Sew Essential, and today I'm sharing my latest make with you, which is the awesome Fibre Mood Judith bomber jacket. I am in love with this project, so let's get started. So as many of you will know, we have recently launched Fibre Mood patterns on our website. So we've added the entire back catalogue of 400 patterns to the site. Don't worry, every video isn't going to be Fibre Mood. It might be a bit Fibre Mood-tastic at the moment, but that's because we've just added them. We were a bit late releasing the latest magazine, and then there's another one coming out very soon. So there'll be a bit of a Fibre Mood sort of frenzy, but then we'll also be sharing all the other stuff that we usually do. But because we've launched this new brand, I just had to try one of the patterns, so I had a good look through. Just so you know, you can buy these patterns in 3 different ways on our site. You can buy a magazine which has all the latest patterns in it that you can sort of pull out of the magazine, trace and add the seam allowances, or you can buy the individual designs printed on A0 paper by us, so that you've got them on nice big sheets of pattern paper, no sticking together, or you can just buy the digital files from us as well and print them at home if you want to. But all the information, all the details are on the website. But I trawled through the back catalogue, I looked at lots and lots of different designs. It was really hard to choose, but in the end I decided upon the Judith jacket, which is a gorgeous bomber jacket. I am in love with this. I made it in our leopard print fabric godmother denim fabric, and it's a sort of classic bomber jacket shape, quite sort of oversized. It's got a collar, which is, you know, the sort of classic bomber jacket collar. It's supposed to be a button down front, but I chose to use a zip instead, and I'll talk you through what I did there. It was very, very simple. It's, yeah, just a lovely sort of oversized fit. The sleeves are a nice length. I sometimes struggle with sleeves being too short for me. I've got quite long arms, so if you've got short arms, I'd just watch that. But for someone like me with longer arms, it was lovely not to make it and then think, oh God, it's not long enough. It's got a strip at the back, a band at the back in that sort of classic bomber jacket style. But the thing I really loved about this pattern as well was just the finish on the inside. It's so professional, so lovely. It's got a lovely facing down the front. It's got the hemband at the bottom, and then you've got the sort of, I've used a scuba fabric for the back piece, which the pattern tells you to do. But it's got that facing across the top as well. I've lined it in our polyester anti-static lining, but you can just see what a lovely professional finish it is. And what I really loved about it as well was that that continues onto the sleeve. So you've got the sleeve where you've got that nice wide bit of denim coming up on the inside of the sleeve, and then the lining beneath that. I made a McCall's jacket recently, and somebody pointed out to me that the lining was showing at the end of the sleeve, and it's because the pattern didn't suggest you adding that sort of cuff at the bottom, or having enough fabric on the outside fabric to kind of hide that lining away like that. So I just was really pleased that this Fibre Mood pattern had that as part of the pattern, and I just feel like it looks so professionally made. Oh, it's got a pleat in the back as well, which was very, very simple to do, but again, that was a slight shortcoming of the McCall's jacket, which I found after I'd been wearing it. It didn't have a pleat in the lining at the back, so it could feel a little bit tight across the back. It hasn't stopped me wearing it. I still love the jacket, but I thought in future I'd always add a pleat, and the Fibre Mood pattern had the pleat included in the instructions. I used one of our brass teeth zips. And yeah, I really feel, I mean, my kids, colleagues at work, everyone said, gosh, it looks so professional. It looks like it was made, you know, and bought from a shop, which you can interpret that whichever way you like. Some people might not like to hear that, but I just think what people are saying is it just looks really neat and really professional. And I have to say, I think that is due to the fantastic instructions included in the pattern. I am going to take the jacket off because it is about 1,000,000 degrees here in the UK today. I'll just give you one last little look at it, because I am very, very proud of this one, folks. I'm really, really happy with it. Almost like hoping for autumnal weather so I can wear it. No, not really, I'm loving the sunshine. But yes, so what do I want to say about this? So yeah, it was important for me to try a Fibre Mood pattern. As I say, it's meant to be a button down front, but that's really the only major change I made to it. They suggest sewing it up in things like wool, I think like scuba, possibly. No, I think it was more wool fabrics and tweeds and things like that, sort of heavier weight, warmer fabrics. I think the one I saw which gave me inspiration on Instagram was a lady had made one in like a beautiful jacquard fabric. So anything that's kind of relatively sort of mid-weight, I suppose, and that you would think of for a bomber jacket. But yeah, I decided to make it and got it all cut out on the Friday. Had to do some last little bits of interfacing and stuff on Saturday, didn't have much time and didn't really properly start sewing it until Sunday, and I made the whole thing in a day, and I went out for a big bike ride in the middle of that. So I just felt that the instructions were really clear, really easy to follow. I mean, it's a relatively sort of advanced, I'd say an intermediate project. It was quick for me because I understand sewing and I know a lot of the things anyway, but if you've got a basic understanding of sewing, yeah, it just came together really, really quickly, and the instructions were so clear, and I just felt that the construction and yeah, the way it had been designed, it just felt really professional, as if it was somebody with proper pattern drafting experience, with proper sort of industry experience. It felt like everything was done like the proper way. And you know me, I'm not a fan of like harsh rules in sewing and you must do this and you must do that, but I do think it's nice when you make a pattern and they've just included all those lovely finishing touches that just make it feel so, professionally made, and that was definitely the case with this. In terms of the sizing, I made a small, so the patterns range from like an extra small right up to like an XXL, I think it is. All the sizes are on our website, so you'll find a link to our website and the pattern below, and on the pattern page it's just the thumbnails underneath. If you click along those, you'll get to the size chart and all the information's there, but they're really size inclusive in terms of the sizes they go up to, but they go down to an extra small as well. I made the small, which was a 33 to a 34.5 bust, 27 to 29 waist and a 37 to 38 hip. The only adjustments I made, I did do my usual high round back adjustment on the back. I did slash the pattern piece and just increase the depth of it a little bit for the curvature on my back. I thought about doing a forward shoulder adjustment, but then I thought it's such an oversized loose fit. The shoulder seam was curved and I kind of wasn't entirely sure how to go about that. And I thought, do you know what, I think it's going to be fine. And in terms of like the waist measurements, 27 to 29, but it's a nice oversized fit, so I thought I don't like, very often I'll grade out from a smaller size at the bust to a bigger size at the waist and the hips, but I thought I just don't need to do that, and that is one of the things I'm loving about making jackets. So it's the second one I've made recently, and I just love the fact that like you haven't got to be as absolutely like spot on and pedantic about the fit, because a lot of them, they're designed with wearing ease because obviously they're an outerwear item, and therefore you can concentrate on the sewing details, on the making, just really immerse yourself in all of that, learn some new techniques, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed that, because sometimes when I make a dress or a blouse or whatever, I spend quite a lot of time thinking about fit, adjusting the fit, worrying about the fit, whereas with the jackets I'm kind of like, yeah, there's loads of ease in that, it'll be fine. And one of the things that helped me actually is the Fibre Mood patterns are really good at giving you finished garment measurements as well. So they gave you one from here to the end of the sleeve, so that was good for like the arm length measurement. They gave you the finished measurement for the bust and I think the waist, and then they also gave you like the length of the bodice as well, and they told you where to lengthen or shorten things. I just felt like there was a lot of really useful information in those instructions. And then the only other thing that I changed, so I used a zip at the centre front instead of the buttons and buttonholes, and I thought, well, it's an oversized fit anyway. But if it was a button down, obviously you would be overlapping those two front pieces. So I thought it might be a bit oversized if I don't take any off that centre front. So all I did, I looked at where the buttons were marked on the pattern piece, and I thought, well, really that's where I want my zip to be. And then I worked back from there, and I thought, well, if I want my zip there, I'm going to still need a little bit of seam allowance to, to sew under to the facing. And then I'll have my zip tape there. And all in all, I just took 3/4 of an inch off that centre front seam on both the exterior of the jacket and also the adjoining facing on the inside. Literally just drew a line 3/4 of an inch away from the edge, and then just took that off on both sides, and that worked out perfectly. And then the other thing I did, I thought, well, the collar might be a little bit long, because obviously that's going to match up to something that was 3/4 of an inch longer. I haven't got any pattern drafting experience, and I was thinking, I know a pattern drafter would know exactly how to do this, but I thought, well, I'll wing it, I'll do what I think. And what I did was, the collar was sort of a shape like that, and then you fold it in half. And what I did was, I just sort of took the point in I think I did about 1/4 of an inch or maybe 1/2 an inch. I just measured along from where the point was on the original piece on the fabric, and then measured along about 1/2 an inch, marked there, and then I put the paper pattern piece on top of the fabric and used that to just redraw that same shape, but just bringing it back a little bit so the collar was a little bit shorter, and that worked out perfectly as well. And the collar and the band at the back, that was a little bit of a story, and I'm glad I've got some good tips there for you. So originally I was going to sew the collar in the leopard print denim, and I couldn't get it to fit. It was, obviously the collar is a bit smaller than the neckline, and you're supposed to stretch your fabric to fit it. And it didn't say in the pattern instructions to use a stretch fabric, so I thought, oh, it'll probably be all right with the denim. But there was no way on God's earth that denim was going to go round that neckline. There wasn't enough give in it, and I just thought I just need to do something different. And then I thought about ribbing fabric, but we haven't got any black ribbing on the website. We've got some little prim packs of like cuffing and ribbing, but they weren't really big enough. I was thinking, I could stitch them together and use the join where the collar folds over, I was kind of thinking along those lines. And then I woke up on the Sunday morning and just had a total brainwave, and I was like, we've got loads of black scuba at work. I thought that will be absolutely perfect. So I drove down to work like a crazy person at like 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, got myself some black scuba, and it turned out to be the perfect fabric. It was nice, and it's a stable enough stretch fabric that it wasn't too stretchy, but it was easy to get it to fit round that neckline, and it's got enough structure to kind of hold the shape. And then I did the band at the back. The only thing I've noticed today is that the crease that I've pressed in the back, I'm not sure if that's kind of holding that well when I'm wearing it. When I held it up earlier, I thought, it's sort of like unfolding a little bit there. So what I would do next time if I did it again is I would have ironed our stretch interfacing onto the back of that, which will just give it a little bit more structure, make that pressed line really crisp, but it will stretch with the fabric, so it's not going to cause you any problems. But I did think, actually, if it does seem like it's unfolding a little bit and it's annoying me, what I will do is I will just top stitch using Mariflex thread, which is a Gutterman stretchy thread that you can just use in your sewing machine. I thought I can just top stitch the bottom of that close to the edge, just to like keep that fold in place, and I think that would look like a nice little detail anyway. But it might not be an issue, I'm not really sure yet. So and then the other thing is, you top stitch around the neckline as well, which I need to go back and do. I haven't quite finished that yet because I didn't have my humper jumper at home. I could not believe it. I've had a million of those things over the years, and I went to grab it on Sunday morning. I was like, where is it? Why haven't I got one? I've had loads of those. So I need to just finish that little bit off. But honestly, I am so thrilled with this, and I do understand that leopard print is not everybody's bag. I get it. Like, you might be looking at it and thinking, oh gosh, I'd never wear that. But you could make this jacket in so many of the fabrics. There are so many other lovely choices. So I'm going to grab a few and show you some alternative options just to give you a bit more inspiration. So I've got a few other fabrics for a bit of inspiration for you, because I know leopard print isn't everybody's thing. Just to say, if you do like leopard print, we have got the denim in grey as well. But also you could make it in just a classic sort of indigo denim, which would be lovely and go with lots and lots of things and be very, very wearable. We've got plenty of that on the site. All the links to the patterns and the fabrics and everything will be listed below. We've got cotton twills, which you could use. This one is like an olivey sort of green. I thought that would be quite nice for a classic bomber jacket. We've also got this lovely, it's kind of like a suiting fabric, I suppose, but yeah, would be perfect for a project like this. I think it's really pretty. It's like a lovely pink textured fabric. It's really soft on the other side, and it's almost got like a subtle stripe for it, almost like a boucle effect, but I thought that could work really well as well if you prefer sort of more muted colours and a bit of texture. And then if you're in the jazzy jacket club like me and you like a jazzy jacket, and I know a lot of people who like a jazzy jacket, lots of my friends, Vicky, who's on the Sew Essential team, she loves a jazzy jacket as well. We've got this gorgeous cotton fabric, which somebody messaged last week and said, oh, has it gone out of stock already? But it was shown as out of stock on the website, but it's not. We've got some, and it's beautiful. And one of my friends made a jacket in it earlier in the year, and it looked fantastic. So that was another option. Another jazzy jacket option, we've got this jacquard fabric, which has got like a floral design on it. And I thought that would make a lovely evening jacket. So you could wear like a nice pair of trousers and a nice top, you know, very sort of understated black trousers perhaps and a black top, but then you could add a bit of like excitement and a bit of colour with a lovely multicoloured floral jacquard fabric. And then also just this kind of classic boucle fabric as well. I thought it could really work very well for it as well. It's kind of a bit of a heavier weight, this one. But I think it would work okay. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work out. Sort of like more of a coating weight. But yeah, I think you could make that up in that as well. So yeah, just some extra inspiration there for you. But I will put the jacket on one more time. I wish I could have kept it on for the duration of the video, but it is so hot in the UK right now. However, when the autumn does finally arrive, I am ready. I will be ready with my beautiful little bomber jacket. I'll be so excited that first day when I get to wear it. And yeah, it's just been the most wonderful, fun project. I've turned it out nice and quickly. I kind of needed one of those sewing projects, you know, when I've been on holiday, I hadn't sewn for a really long time. I can't remember what the last thing I made was, but it just felt like it had been a really long time. I just needed to get back on the starting blocks and, you know, do a project that went well, and it was just lovely. But I've hardly had my unpicker out with this because I just felt like the instructions were really good and it came together really well and it made sense. And yeah, there wasn't like Can't think of anything particularly fiddly. There was, other than the collar issue, and then when I changed the fabric it was fine. I think it was one of those projects where it was like, oh, that's gone smoothly, oh, that bit's gone smoothly, oh, it's coming together quite quickly. We've got a jacket outer now, right, let's start the lining, see how, and before you knew it, like it was like, I kept thinking, when's it going to go wrong, when's it going to happen, but it was one of those patterns that just really came together really well, as I say, and I'm just so delighted with it. So yes, very excited to try some more of their patterns. I hope you've enjoyed that. You can find everything I've talked about today on our lovely website, so do jump on and check out our lovely website. Sign up to our newsletter if you haven't already. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.